Fuel stops and fuel is the biggest question that comes to mind. Let me just tell you where all there are fuel pumps. So if you are coming from Manali side, you have obviously fuel stations in Manali, you have fuel stations in Tundi, you have fuel stations in Keelong. And after that you have fuel station in Karu, you have fuel station in Leh. If you are entering from Zanskar, then after Keelong you will get a fuel station in Padam. From Padam you can head to Leh, and then again there will be a fuel station. If you are coming from Srinagar, then there is a fuel station in Sonmarg, then there is a fuel station in Kargil, then obviously on the route to Leh you will get more fuel stations. If you are going to Diskit and Hundar area, then there is a fuel station in Diskit. If you are going towards Pangong So, there is a fuel station at Tangse. If you are going towards Hanle, there is a fuel station at Nyuma. How much fuel to carry is the biggest question in everyone's mind. I'll just simply say it that you don't need to carry any fuel. The max you can carry is maybe 1 liter bottle. But I will tell you all the stretches which are there, and do you really need to carry fuel, that you need to decide based on what range your motorcycle gets. So the first stretch that we have is Keelong has a fuel station. If you're headed to Padam, then it is only 160 kilometers. So if your bike can do 160 to 180 kilometers easily, then you don't need to fill up any fuel. From Padam to Leh highway, again it is around less than 200 kilometers, which your bike can easily do, and I don't think so you need to carry any fuel with you. If you're going from Padam to Kargil, again it is very less distance, hardly 130 kilometers, and you don't need to fill up any fuel over there. If you're doing Manali to Leh, so fill up at Keelong, and then the only next destination that you will find with fuel is Karu. So Keelong to Karu would be around 300 kilometers. If your motorcycle can do 300 kilometers without a problem, then you can go ahead with it. You don't need to fill up any fuel. Also remember that if when you are crossing, let's say Sarchu, you're crossing Pang, these are big places where all the shops have some kind of fuel available. They usually keep big cans of fuel with them in their houses, in their shops, and then they sell fuels in small bottle. So if you need it for emergency, you can top up with 1 liter or 2 liter, and the price is not really very high, that we should not be thinking so much, because the biggest mistake people are doing is carrying fuel on their motorcycles. I have done that before, and it is such a stupid idea to do. Don't do that. Fuel is available everywhere. Big pumps I have already noted down. I have already told you in the video what are the big pumps and what is the fuel range that you need to have a comfortable journey. If you are coming from Srinagar route, you don't need to carry any fuel. So if you are doing the Sach Pass route, you can fill up fuel at Koti. After Koti, you will do Sach Pass, and then you will do Killard, then you will reach Keelong. You don't need to fill up any fuel. You can fill up at Keelong without a problem. From Keelong, you can easily go to Padam. It is hardly 160 kilometers. From Padam to Leh, easily you can do it. You don't need to carry any fuel. So if you are heading north, fill up from Leh. Once you reach Diskit, you can fill up again. If you're going towards Tyakshi, the round trip is I think less than 200 kilometers, so you can go up to Tyakshi, come back to Diskit, fuel up. If you're going towards Siachen, again the round trip is less than 300 kilometers, so fill up at Diskit, go to Siachen, come back, again fill up at Diskit. If you're doing Pangong So from Agam Shok, then fill up at Diskit. From here to Tangse is I think around 120 to 140 kilometers. You will get to fuel up at Tangse again. If you are going from Leh to Pangong So directly, you will do Changla etc., and then you will reach Tangse again, which is around 120-140 kilometers. Again you can fill up fuel here. Now let's say from Pangong So you want to go to Hanle. Now there are two routes available. I would recommend the second route. First is from Pangong So Manmirak village, because the last time you filled up is at Tangse. So from there you have reached Manmirak villages, which is next to Pangong So, on the banks of Pangong So. From there you head to Chushul, then you do Rizangla. After Rizangla War Memorial, you take the same road, you go up to Loma. From Loma, you have to track back to Nyoma. There is a fuel pump in Nyoma. From there, you can fill up. If you do not want to do this, I find this route to be quite boring. What you can do is come back to Chushul and take the Kaksangla route. When you do the Kaksangla route, there are two lakes there which you can see. They are beautiful lakes, all in the middle of mountains. So beautiful two passes. You will do Kaksangla, you will do Horla, two passes. You will come down at Nyoma. At Nyoma you can fill up. So all these distances that you will do, you can fill up at Nyoma and then head to Hanle. Now the next point is when you are in Nyoma or when you are near Loma Bend, Again, there are many shops there which will sell you fuel. So even let's say if you are not able to get fuel at the pump, you can buy petrol from them. It is very easily available. Next stop is from next fuel stop to fuel stop would be Neuma to Neuma if you have to go to Umlingla. So from Neuma, if you start, you reach Hanle. From Hanle, you can take either Fotila or you can take Nurbula or you can take another two routes which are there. All these routes coming and going back is not more than 300 kilometers. So from Neuma to Hanle to either of the routes you take, you reach Umlingla, you come back to Hanle, from Hanle you come back to Neuma, the fuel station. This is less than 300 kilometers, so you will not have any trouble in doing all of this. So 300 kilometers is all you need to do, and from here if you want to go to Somiriri, you can go to Somiriri, but mind it, from Neuma to Keelong fuel station, that will be around 400 kilometers. So this is where you need to be very careful. But if you are filled at Neuma, you go to Somuriri, you come back at Mahe Bridge. There are many shops, many small hotels which will sell you fuel. So you don't need to worry. And again, you are going to encounter Pang on the way back. So at Pang, again, you can fuel up. There won't be a problem there. You can easily fuel up at Pang. Then again there will be Sarchu, then you do Baralachla. So there will be many places where you can purchase petrol. It will be a little more expensive, but you will at least get fuel. You don't need to carry any fuel on your motorcycle or on your backpack or anywhere else. If you are really worried and think that you will run out of fuel, I would suggest the max you can do is, or max you should do is, just carry 1 liter of fuel with you. That should be good enough for your reserves if you really think that you will get in trouble somewhere.